my first pick for one hit wonder is a game called Sim Tower. For anybody who ever played this game, Sim Tower, you guys are familiar with Sim City, The Sims, other games in the Sim franchise. And admittedly, the Sim franchise came out with a lot of one-hit wonders. There was Sim Ant, Sim Earth. There was Sid Meier's Sim Golf. I see Miss Hino reacting to the to
No,
the to
no,
the
no.
games that I'm
I
mentioning.
suddenly remember the
Mm.
herbs.
The herbs, yes, the Sims, the herbs, which is another offshoot of the Sims. Uh, so the idea here is that Sim Tower, whenever I mention it to anybody who is familiar with all those old school games, DOS, Windows 3.1, it suddenly hits them and they say, "Oh wait, that game I spent hours and hours on just playing." The idea of Sim Tower is that you are tasked with building a building. So in this case, building a building from the ground up. You start with the lobby of the game, the lobby of the building, and then you slowly work your way up, trying to reach the top of the the top of the rankings as to the building, the building ratings. Now Seaman is very different, so because we were showing that in the video portion. The thing about building a tower is that you always figure not about the structure itself. The tower is just a backdrop. The entire point of Sim Tower is making the people in your tower happy. Now, the thing about Sim Tower is that you start with a lobby and you start with 1 star rating. Your ultimate goal is to see that rating go from 1 star to 5 stars for your tower, for your building to be the very best in the town. And it's just one tower. The thing is, you start with the lobby, you start building. Now, you think in terms of real time, what would a building need to have? Number one, it needs to have income because it has to maintain itself. People have to start having places there that they get income from. What does a building get income from? Normally, it gets income from uh, commercial spaces like restaurants, burger shops, ice cream shops, and then it gets regular income from offices because offices rent space in a building. And of course, the people who go to the offices, once they get to lunchtime, need to go to the commercial spaces to eat. They go to a burger shop to eat, they go to a Japanese yakisoba place to eat, and they go to the ice cream shop to kind of maybe relax in the afternoon after having busted their heads trying to file that TPS form. So they go to that TPS report. Now they go to those ice cream shops. They spend money there. The ice cream shops, the commercial places make money. They also turn a profit. And afterwards, one-time large investments come in the form of condominium units. Now, condominium units, they get large income first and then no more. As in, like people live there, you have to factor in the fact that they are living there, they produce trash. All of these places produce trash. Now, it's not a matter of making sure that the people are happy. It's also making sure that all of the places that you build, all of these rooms that you build, all of these little structures that you build are easily accessible. Easiest way to do that would be an elevator. Somebody I spoke with in the old days who already played Sim Tower was far more obsessed with the way that his elevators are positioned and the way that they move across the tower than he was with the rooms that he was putting up in Sim Tower. The thing about it is you also have to factor in security. You have to have a security office there where the security guard goes around at night to all the places that you built. Because if you don't have security, theft happens. So when theft happens, the value of that building goes down. The value of those rooms that had theft go down. You also have to have um, uh, 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 what do you call that, a sanitation facility, because all of these places produce trash. Trust me on this one, the trash accumulates very quickly. And you can build upwards and downwards as well. There will be basements, there will be parking garages. You have to factor in parking for all of those residents and all of those office workers and all of those people who go to these commercial establishments. And Of course, we factor in power, we factor in accessibility. The ultimate goal is to make sure that your building reaches 5 stars. And at the very last thing that put at the very top of the tower that will cap everything off is a cathedral. Now, one of the biggest goals in that is to have your very first celebrity wedding at that cathedral at the top, and your tower has to have a 5 star rating for a celebrity to even think to have their wedding at the top of your tower. So it all comes together at the very end. Now the thing is, with Sim Tower, you can play it endlessly. You can play it over and over again. You can experiment with how things are structured. You can experiment with elevators. You can experiment with stairs. You can experiment with how close the commercial establishments are to the offices or how far they are, because noise pollution actually affects peoples in the condominiums. The more commercial establishments are close to the condominiums, the more they complain. The condominium room rating goes down from blue to yellow to red. Cockroaches can infest your places. So if your sanitation team does not do a good job, or they can't reach a room, a cockroach infests that room, and it is a loss for you. You have to destroy that room. As in, it's a total loss. You can't recover any money from it. You can't get any income from it. Nobody will rent it. So you have to demolish that room and build over with that particular section. So again, Sim Tower is one of those games that a lot of people played over and over again way back in the DOS early Windows games that they had a lot of fun with and look fondly on when they suddenly remember it. Somebody like me will say, "Hey, did you play Sim Tower?" And they'll say, "Oh my goodness, yeah, Sim Tower is great." So it had a semi-sequel called Ute Tower, which is exactly the same thing. It's still Sim Tower, but Ute Tower had towers over that you can build over in Hawaii. Not much difference actually. It's just a difference in setting. Hawaii and I think downtown Japan. It didn't sell as well, and that's the reason why the whole idea of our show being a one-hit wonder is one game that never had a good sequel or that never had a sequel at all. So in this case, it was Sim Tower. It had a sequel called Ute Tower, and it had a semi remake in the Game Boy Advance. Surprisingly, it was called the Tower SP. And again, if you're a sim lover, you will love this game as well, because all those little people wandering around in the tower, you can actually magnifying glass over each one, and they will have little comments as to how your tower is coming along. That sim will say, these elevators take forever to come, and they start turning red. They get angry because the elevators are not coming to their floor fast enough, or like, there are no closed bathrooms here. I really need to pee. And these sims are actually the same sims that you will see, if you ever had Sim City, things like that. So in a way, in my head, it kind of all ties together as one giant will write world, The Sims. So again, that is my very first game for One Hit Wonderland, the Sim Tower.